There's the invisible prison most people never escape. Every morning they wake up behind bars they can't see, controlled by a fear so primal it rewires their entire existence. This fear doesn't just limit their actions, it shapes their identity, their relationships, their destiny. The fear of rejection. While they shrink from opportunity, beg for acceptance, and hand over their power to anyone willing to validate them, a rare few have discovered something darker, something Machiavelli himself whispered about in the shadows of Renaissance Italy. They've learned to weaponize the very thing that destroys others. Today you discover how to turn no into your greatest source of power. But first, if you're ready to break free from the invisible chains that bind you, smash that like button, subscribe and ring the notification bell, because what I'm about to reveal will separate you from the masses forever. And drop this in the comments right now. I control my destiny. Let's begin your transformation. Chapter 1. The Invisible Prison of Rejection. Listen carefully. Your brain is wired against you. When Stanford neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger put rejection under the microscope, she discovered something terrifying. The same neural pathways that fire when you touch a burning stove activate when someone says no to you. Your brain literally cannot distinguish between physical pain and social rejection. This isn't philosophy, it's biology. The anterior cingulate cortex lights up like a Christmas tree. Your nervous system floods with stress hormones. Your body prepares for death because for 200,000 years, rejection from the tribe meant exactly that, death. But here's where most people become prisoners of their own evolution. They carry Stone Age wiring into a digital world. They let ancient programming control modern decisions. Every opportunity avoided, every bold move postponed, every dream abandoned at the altar of, what if they reject me? You see it everywhere. The entrepreneur who never pitches because investors might say no. The romantic who settles for mediocrity rather than risk hearing, I'm not interested. The employee who accepts crumbs because asking for more might mean conflict. This fear doesn't just limit, it transforms you into something pathetic, an approval-seeking machine, a validation junkie, someone who hands their self-worth to strangers and begs them not to break it. The masses live this way, controlled by ghosts, manipulated by phantoms. But you're about to learn what Machiavelli knew 5 centuries ago. Chapter 2. Machiavelli's Perspective on Rejection. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Niccolo Machiavelli didn't write these words to sound clever. He wrote them because he understood a dark truth about human nature that most will never grasp. Machiavelli observed the courts of Renaissance Italy, where princes begged for approval and died by assassination, where leaders who sought love over respect found themselves dethroned by those they tried to please. He saw that the desperate need for acceptance creates weakness, and weakness invites destruction. Consider Julius Caesar. Before crossing the Rubicon, every senator, every advisor, every friend told him no. The entire Roman establishment rejected his ambition. Caesar's response? He marched anyway. That rejection didn't destroy him. It revealed who truly mattered and who was merely noise. Steve Jobs faced the same choice when Apple's board rejected him in 1985. Instead of begging for their approval, he walked away. Built next, acquired Pixar. When Apple came crawling back 12 years later, dying and desperate, Jobs didn't return as a supplicant. He returned as their savior, on his terms. This is Machiavelli's core insight. Rejection is information, not a verdict. It tells you who lacks vision, who fears change, who will never rise to your level. The person who fears rejection hands control to everyone around them. The person who embraces it controls their own destiny. Most people hear no and retreat. Masters hear no and advance. Which are you? Chapter 3. Dark Psychology. Rejection as power. Here's what the psychology textbooks won't tell you. Rejection isn't your enemy, it's your trainer. Every no you face is emotional weight training for your psychological muscles. While others atrophy from avoiding resistance, you grow stronger by embracing it. Think about it logically. The person who fears rejection takes no risks. No risks means no growth. No growth means stagnation. Stagnation means death. Not physical death, but the death of potential, of dreams, of the person you could have become. But there's something darker at play here, something most people never realize. When you become immune to rejection, you flip the entire power dynamic. Suddenly, you're not the one seeking approval. You're the prize others chase. Robert Greene documented this phenomenon in The Art of Seduction. The person who doesn't need validation becomes magnetically attractive. Why? Because confidence is the scarcest resource in a world full of approval seekers. While everyone else begs for attention, you command it simply by not needing it. This creates what psychologists call the scarcity effect. The harder something is to obtain, the more valuable it becomes. By not fearing rejection, you automatically position yourself as high value. You become the restaurant with a waiting list, the exclusive club that doesn't accept everyone, the investment opportunity that doesn't chase investors. Here's the brutal truth. Most people can sense desperation from miles away. They smell the need for approval, like predators smell fear. But fearlessness, that's a different scent entirely. That's the scent of power. When you master your relationship with rejection, you don't just change how others see you. You change how reality bends around you. The weak beg. The strong negotiate. The fearless simply state their terms and wait. Chapter 4. Practical Machiavellian Tactics. Now let me give you the tactical blueprint. 4 laws that will transform you from victim to victor. Law 1. Expect rejection. Never beg acceptance. The Harvard Business Review studied top salespeople and found something remarkable. The highest performers expected no as the default response. They built their entire strategy around it. When rejection came, they were prepared. When acceptance came, it was a bonus. This mental framework eliminates the emotional roller coaster that destroys lesser minds. Law 2. Use rejection strategically. Master manipulators understand something profound. Selective rejection creates desire. When nightclub owners reject 70% of applicants, the remaining 30% feel special. When luxury brands limit availability, demand skyrockets. Apply this to your personal life. Don't be available to everyone. Don't say yes to every invitation. Strategic rejection makes your acceptance valuable. Law 3. Display boldness in the face of potential rejection. Colonel Sanders was rejected 1,009 times before someone said yes to his chicken recipe. But here's what most people miss. He wasn't just persistent, he was bold. Each no made his next approach more confident, not less. He carried rejection like a badge of honor, proof that he was playing a bigger game than everyone else. Law 4. Control the frame. Rejection reflects them, not you. When someone rejects your offer, your proposal, your advance, what are they really saying? They're revealing their limitations, their fears, their inability to recognize value. Warren Buffett calls this the market being temporarily insane. The value doesn't change, only the perception does. Drop this in the comments. I control my frame. Because that's exactly what you're about to do. The moment you internalize these laws, something extraordinary happens. Rejection stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you use.
Chapter 5. Ruling through fearlessness. Watch how the world divides into 2 species of human being. The first species, the vast majority, live in constant fear of rejection. They modify their behavior, dim their light, shrink their dreams, all to avoid the possibility of hearing no. They are the ruled. Then there's the second species. rare, dangerous, uncontrollable. They've weaponized the very thing that destroys others. These are the rulers. Jeff Bezos understood this distinction when he left his comfortable Wall Street job to start Amazon. His boss tried to talk him out of it. His colleagues called him crazy. Investors rejected him 60 times. But Bezos had grasped something profound. The fear of rejection was the only thing standing between him and unlimited possibility. Here's what separates rulers from the ruled. Rulers don't seek approval. They command respect. There's a massive difference. Approval is given by others and can be taken away. Respect is earned through your actions and becomes unshakable. The fearless understand that rejection isn't punishment, it's protection. Every no filters out the wrong people, the wrong opportunities, the wrong directions. It's quality control for your life. When someone rejects what you're offering, they're doing you a favor. They're identifying themselves as incompatible with your vision. Think about it this way. Would you rather have 100 people who barely tolerate you, or 10 people who genuinely respect you? The masses choose quantity because they're desperate. Rulers choose quality because they're selective. This is the ultimate power flip. Instead of you chasing others for validation, others start chasing you for access. Instead of you adapting to their standards, they start rising to meet yours. Instead of you fearing their rejection, they start fearing your indifference. The moment you stop being controllable through fear of rejection, you become truly dangerous. And dangerous people don't beg for seats at tables, they build their own. Chapter 6. Advanced Rejection Mastery. Now we enter the deepest level of this dark art. What I'm about to reveal will separate you from 99% of the population forever. Most people think rejection mastery means becoming numb to pain. Wrong. True masters don't eliminate the sting. They transform it into fuel. When Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for television news, she didn't ignore the pain. She channeled it into building a media empire that made her more powerful than any news anchor in history. This is emotional alchemy, turning lead into gold, rejection into rocket fuel. Every no becomes evidence that you're playing in a bigger arena than those who rejected you. Every closed door proves you're knocking on doors others are too afraid to approach. But here's the advanced technique that only true Machiavellians understand: strategic vulnerability. You don't become a robot, you become selectively vulnerable with the right people while remaining invulnerable to the wrong ones. This creates what psychologists call emotional differentiation, the ability to respond rather than react. Consider Elon Musk's approach to criticism. When experts rejected his ideas about electric cars, space travel, and neural interfaces, he didn't argue. He didn't defend. He simply built the future they said was impossible. His rejections became his roadmap. The ultimate rejection master practices what I call preemptive rejection. Before anyone can reject you, you reject the version of yourself that needs their approval. You kill your own neediness before it can kill your power. This creates an unstoppable psychological momentum. While others are paralyzed by the possibility of rejection, you're energized by it. While they're protecting their ego, you're expanding your empire. While they're playing not to lose, you're playing to dominate. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Rejection fuels my power. Because that's exactly what it's about to do. The masters of history weren't beloved by everyone. They were rejected by the right people and respected by those who mattered. Chapter 7. The Psychology of Unshakable Confidence. Here's where we shatter the final illusion that keeps people weak. They believe confidence comes from success. They think you need wins to feel powerful. This is backwards thinking that keeps them trapped forever. True confidence, the kind that makes you unbreakable,
comes from accepting the worst-case scenario and realizing you'll survive it. When you've been rejected so many times that it becomes routine, when you've faced no so often it loses its sting, something profound shifts in your psychology. You stop fearing the thing that controls everyone else. Muhammad Ali understood this principle before his biggest fights. He would visualize losing, getting knocked out, facing complete humiliation. Not because he expected to lose, but because he needed to know he could handle the worst outcome. This mental preparation made him fearless in the ring. The psychology textbooks call this stress inoculation. Special forces use it. Top performers in every field practice it. You expose yourself to controlled doses of the thing you fear until your nervous system stops treating it as a threat. But here's the deeper insight. When you remove the fear of rejection from your psychology, you don't just become confident, you become magnetic. Confidence is attractive, but fearlessness is intoxicating. People can sense when someone has transcended the need for their approval, and it creates an almost gravitational pull. The neuroscience behind this is fascinating. When you're not afraid of rejection, your prefrontal cortex, the executive center of your brain, functions optimally. You think clearer, speak more articulate, project more authority. Meanwhile, those still controlled by rejection fear operate from their amygdala, the primitive fear center. They literally cannot compete with your psychological clarity. This is why the fearless Aki ways rise to the top in any hierarchy. It's not luck or talent alone. It's superior psychological architecture. The weak fear judgment. The strong welcome it. The masters create it. Chapter 8. Your weaponized no. This is your moment of transformation. Everything you've learned converges here, at the crossroads between who you were and who you're about to become. For your entire life, rejection has been your master. It whispered in your ear before every bold move, every big ask, every leap toward greatness. What if they say no? What if they laugh? What if they reject you? And like an obedient slave, you listened, you retreated, you played small. But now you understand the dark truth Machiavelli discovered centuries ago. The fear of rejection isn't protecting you, it's imprisoning you. Every dream deferred, every opportunity missed, every compromise you made to avoid conflict, all sacrifices to a false god. Today, that god dies. From this moment forward, rejection becomes your ally. Every no you hear is proof you're aiming higher than the masses dare to reach. Every door that closes reveals you're knocking where others fear to approach. Every person who rejects you filters themselves out of your elite circle. You are no longer seeking approval, you are granting access. You are no longer avoiding rejection, you are collecting it like trophies. You are no longer controlled by the fear of no, you are empowered by its inevitability. This is your weaponized no. Not just the ability to reject others, but the complete immunity to being controlled by their potential rejection of you. When you reach this level, you become strategically invincible. The person who cannot be controlled through fear of rejection cannot be controlled at all. They negotiate from strength. They love without neediness. They lead without begging. They build empires while others build excuses. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. What you really are is someone who has transcended the greatest weakness that destroys human potential. You are beyond their reach now, uncontrollable, unstoppable, unbreakable. Welcome to your reign." The final choice. Let me leave you with this brutal reality check. Right now, you face a binary choice that will determine the trajectory of your entire existence. Path 1. You close this video, forget everything you've learned, and return to your comfortable prison. You continue seeking approval, avoiding conflict, playing it safe. You remain controllable, predictable, forgettable. You live and die as one of the masses, never knowing what you could have become. Path 2. You weaponize these dark truths. You transform rejection from your greatest fear into your greatest strength. You become the person others seek approval from instead of the person seeking it. You join the rare few who rule their reality instead of being ruled by it. The choice is binary. There is no middle ground between weakness and power. If you choose path 2, if you're ready to claim the psychological dominance that is your birthright, then prove it right now. Smash that like button to signal your commitment to power over comfort. Subscribe and hit the notification bell because your initiation into these dark arts has only just begun. Share this video with someone who needs to break free from their invisible prison, and drop this final affirmation in the comments. I am uncontrollable. Because that's exactly what you're about to become. The weak react, the strong respond. But the masters, they don't need to do either. They simply exist in their power, and the world reorganizes itself around them. Your reign begins now. Rule accordingly.